Welcome to Steelers Weekly. I'm your host, Brian Schmidt, and we are in playoff mode football. With me, as always, Dwight Stone, former Pittsburgh wide receiver. Dwight, how you doing tonight?
I am doing good, my brother. How you doing down there in Texas?
Oh, man, we are getting close to our season. Just painted the locker rooms black and gold.
Love it.
Things are picking up. Training camp starts here in a few weeks, so it's getting fun. Always fun to be able to sit here and talk football with you and Steeler football, and we get to continue on one more week with the Steeler victory.
How about that? We on the road, buddy. We're on the
30 to 12 over the Miami Dolphins. And my first question to you is this, and I've been kind of scattering my brain a little bit on this. So has there ever been in Steeler playoff history a more dominant half performance in that first half by the Steelers? Has there ever been a more dominant? Because I can't think of one.
I mean, you said it last week when you said that, hey, I changed my mind about the score. You said, I feel as though that they're going to bring it to them. And your wish came true because they brought it to them. And honestly, I cannot remember, like, across the board, the whole team doing good, from defense, offense, special team, and the coaches, all on the same page. And once that occurred, we've been trying to see if that's going to happen. It's happening now in the playoff at the right time.
You start out the game, you got a 50-yard touchdown on a screen to Antonio Brown. I mean, who just, I think they're still trying to tackle him on that because that just was not happening. And then you turn right back around for good measure, and he goes 62 yards for a touchdown. It's 14-0, and we've barely gotten warm yet. I mean, it's amazing. And Bell was amazing. 29 carries, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns, broke a Steeler single game rushing record for the playoffs. Ben, 13 of 18, 197, 2 touchdowns. A little concerned with the interceptions. He had 2 interceptions. Right now, he's been 8 touchdowns and 8 interceptions in his last, I think, 6-7 games, something like that. A little concerned about that, but at the same time, and I want to throw this to you. Do the interceptions concern you? That right now, I mean, he's 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, as I said, in the last, I think it's 7 games, 8 games. Does it concern you, or is this a product of him really trying to make plays and really trying to push this offense to a different direction?
You're right. I think that Ben is sometimes he's trying to push the offense to another dimension, and when he don't have to. I think sometimes when he throw the ball, you can look at his face like, why did I just do that? That's not like me. But it happens. But he has also, he turned around. I guess he having deep confidence in his defense. No matter what happened on the offense, the defense seems like to have their back on Sunday. But you can run against a team that, going to capitalize on those interceptions. And that's the key. And you don't want those interceptions on your side of the field because, if you're down there, you're ready to score and you have a turnover, if you don't want that, but they have a long way to go and the defense is coming around, it's susceptible. But you don't want that to go to Kansas City because they got, their fans are like, just like the Steelers. I mean, when you come out there, they bring the red. So he can't go out there and get them any kind of momentum, especially throwing the ball. He has to take a sack, take it, and get back up in the saddle because you got 2 of the best players with you. It's still feasible with the Steelers.
And Antonio Brown, 5 catches, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. And, a lot of that was obviously very, very quick in the first quarter. You're talking in 2 touchdowns, having 112 yards in receiving yards and just 2 touchdowns and 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. He ended up with that would have been 112 yards. So I mean, he obviously started off big. Talk a little bit about Antonio Brown's play in this game, and really early on, I mean, he was just dominant. The way I looked at this game is this: I thought Ben and Antonio Brown and Bell early on were just, I mean, it was a dominant machine. Yeah. But the one thing is Bell to me was, from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, Bell and that offensive line was just dominating. But from an Antonio Brown, how big were those 2 touchdowns in the first quarter in terms of just how dominating they were?
I mean, he came out from you tell he read the play. Like I say, once he got that little screen out there, and he set up his blocks and went down the sideline, and then you're thinking like, oh my goodness, it is on. I figured like, okay, now they're going to double him, and they're going to make sure that doesn't happen again. But sure enough, Ben finds him once again, and then he takes it 60-something yards. And I'm thinking like, you got to be kidding me. And those are kind that if you come into the game, if you don't have your seat off, game started, and you look at the score, I'm like, wait a minute, that can't be right. But that's why I tell you, get there early, because you never know what's going to happen with the Steelers. And that goes to show you, I mean, because that was like what Antonio needed. I mean, with the touchdown pass against the Ravens, this guy right here, and in all honesty, has to be, to me, the single best receiver out there. I mean, I would take Antonio over anybody in the league fourth receiver-wise. And I take Bell over anybody as a running back. And I take Ben. So I take all 3 of them. And like I said, it's all about Antonio getting into his game, and they got him involved real quick, which was good. So they couldn't stack the box with 8 people because they had to keep an eye on him out there, which was great.
And let's talk about Bell on the offensive line. 29 carries, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns, single-game playoff rushing record. Boy, I'll tell you, there are just times when you watch him run, it's a thing of beauty, and there are times when you say, boy, I'd just like to see him stick his toe in the ground and plow forward and get that 3-4 yards. But there are just so many times when you watch him simply patient, let the blocks form, let his guys get control, and it really becomes a thing of beauty.
It does. It does.
Yeah, I was, that's one thing. I mean, when you watch his running style, is there a former running back in the NFL that he reminds you of? I can only think of one off the top of my head.
Who are you thinking?
Barry Sanders.
There you go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm with you on that. Every bit of with that. Yes. But Barry Sanders didn't have a good line, so he had to delay back there. I mean, but yeah, Antonio. I mean, Bell. His running style is just the most unusual. He's hopping. He's thinking like, hit the hole, hit it. But his way of doing it is just looking at the line, see which one has a better hole, and he adjusts to that. But back in the day, when I was playing, they hit the hole. They want that dancing. They want you back there dancing, what they call it. But now his style is, I wonder if that style he has now will work anywhere else, because the Steelers have a great line. Buffalo Bills, or would it work with the Jacksonville Jaguars? Because the Steelers linemen do a great job for him. I mean, they really do. They do an outstanding job for him.
And when we talk about this offensive line, and there were times during the game that and the Steelers employed this a little bit more this week than we've seen, where they went with 6 offensive linemen at times. So you've got that extra beef out there. There were times, the times obviously using the tight end, but there were times where they had 6 offensive linemen and the tight end in there. They did different personnel groupings. Really created a problem for Miami in terms of being able to deal with, the extra beef, and now you're in a quandary defensively. Do you put more in the box, and now you've got Bell on the outside, or do you stay pretty based up with your front, and now you give the Steelers a blocking advantage. That's very interesting how they were able to use that and use it very effectively.
They did. I mean, and that formation you still can run your passing route because you got two great tight ends in there, and you still got Bell. And thinking like, okay, now they can pass the ball just as much as they can run the ball now. And you're trying to determine, okay, they're running the ball. We can't stop the run. And I think they carried the ball 10 times on one drive, and that's amazing. I think 10 times straight on one drive, he carried the ball, Bell. And if you can't stop them, they're going to eat you alive. And then if you try to stop that, then they can go to Antonio, then they can go to the tight ends. So I like how they did that with the tight package, because with the snow and rain or sleet that's happening in Kansas City, that's what they're going to need. They're going to need ball control, because throwing that ball out there on an icy day, I don't think it's going to be good for anybody. But if you can run the ball, I think that's going to be a key to lots of things.
And then let's switch gears. Let's talk about the Steeler defense. So many things you can say. Steelers got an interception. Recovered 2 fumbles and huge. I mean, in the red zone, huge fumble recoveries. Obviously, I mean, people will talk about the hit from Dupree forever, and I'm sorry. I know the spirit of the role. I get it. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a football hit. And for not only to get fined $18,000 for that. I'm sorry. I'm ready to take up a collection because I know Dupree obviously can afford it, but I'm ready to take up a collection because I'm sorry that's a football hit. But defensively, unbelievable performance in my eyes. And people will say, well, Miami had their backup quarterback in. First of all, I'll tell you right now, from a backup standpoint, I will take Moore as our backup quarterback in a heartbeat. That guy.
I would.
Yeah, and let's look at this. As good as the Steeler defense played, and we'll get to some individuals in a moment, but Moore was 29 of 36 for 289 yards and a touchdown. It was not like he had a bad game. But you could tell he was very uncomfortable. Steelers were able to hold Ajayi, whatever he is, to 16 carries for 33 yards. That's a big difference from the 200 yards he had against us the first time.
Very big difference.
When you look at some of the individual performances, Timmons, how 8 tackles, 6 assists, 2 sacks. Harrison, does this guy ever age?
I tell you, whatever he's, and I believe everything's natural with him. I'm with him, but whatever he has, he'll pass along to everybody to Ben for like 6 more years.
It's unbelievable.
It is.
Harrison had, 6 tackles, 4 assists, a sack and a half. Ryan Shazier with the interception. Just a dominating performance. I mean, the Miami Dolphins only had 305 yards of total offense. They never looked comfortable.
No.
We can talk about the Dupree hit, on Moore. I think that hit set a tone because, first of all, the concussion protocol, as I was telling you off the air, I'm pretty sure that was, hey, Matt, what goes in a vodka and Red Bull? And he responded, vodka and Red Bull. And they went, you're good, because there was no way he had any concussion protocol.
Oh,
there's not a chance. There's no way that man had one bit of concussion protocol. Not one bit.
That's good. I love it.
But, dominating performance in that first half. And in the second half, and I've always said, and really in the third quarter, the Steelers dominated. They scored 10 points. The fourth quarter got sloppy. And let's talk about the pink polka-dotted elephant in the room that everybody is talking about. Ben being in there and Ben getting hurt second to last play. There's been a lot of talk about, Tomlin should have gotten him out. There's been a lot of talk about, Ben kind of made, the decision to stay in, and, Tomlin should have overruled him. talk about in your mind, because I can tell you in my mind what I'm already thinking, but in your mind, I mean, do you let Ben make that decision to stay in there, or are you yanking him out long before that situation ever comes to pass?
Like I said, like you said, if I had that call to make, I mean, being that my guys don't do what they need to do, that's a good time to put your other guys in and get them experience, because you never know when you're going to need them. Hey, the game is pretty much, out of hand. We got this, and we control it. Put your backups in. Get them some experience. Let them feel the different kind of speed of how it is in the playoff game, because you get in there and not having no kind of experience, you can be like deer in headlights. And I think it's an opportunity, put Landry in there. Hey, put him in there, let him feel the momentum, let him see what's going on. Put Williams in running back. I know the guys don't want to come out, but put them in there, let them get that feel for the speed of the game, because the speed of the game is totally different in the regular season, and that would not surprise them if they ever get called upon.
Yeah, in my opinion, I don't care. Ben could have told me, hey, I'm staying in there, and it would have been over my dead body.
Exactly.
It would have looked awful funny to see me, as a head coach tackling him to the ground so he don't go in, because I'm telling you right now, it would have happened. There was no reason for him to be in there. So again, that's something that really, thankfully, hopefully is not going to be costly, because now we get ourselves and our sights set to Kansas City.
Yes.
And Kansas City had a bye week. The first thing that I will say is Kansas, yes, laid waste to Kansas City early in the season.
Yes.
Absolutely 100% laid waste. But this is a different Kansas City team, and this is also a different Steeler team from that point. But here are my fears,
mm-hmm.
and here's where I look at things. Quite honestly, in this on the mindset of where we are in this game. Here's a game where you're facing a Kansas City team with a head coach who I believe coming off of bye weeks is got some ridiculous. It's like 16-3. That's the first thing. Second of all, Pittsburgh historically, and especially in recent history, has not played well in Kansas City. So there's a couple things right there that you got to look at. This is a game that, in my mind, there's a lot of different things here. Pittsburgh far outgains Kansas City in total offense. They pass the ball well. Rushing game is about the same. Points per game is nearly even. Third down conversion is nearly even. But then when you look defensively, Kansas City gives up a little bit more in terms of total offense. They give up almost 21 yards more in rushing per game.
Mm-hmm.
Points per game defensively are nearly. I mean, this is a game that stat-wise is almost dead even.
Yes.
In just about every category.
Mm-hmm.
And this is again a team that, when you talk about going all the way back to Week 4, that 43-14
yes.
thrashing that Pittsburgh put on them. This is a different Kansas City team. They were injured back in that. They've got those guys back. Defensively, they had some guys out. They've got back. Talk about this game. Talk about what Pittsburgh needs to do to beat Kansas City, because this is a very even game on paper. Even though this is a very hot Steelers team that's coming into this game.
Telling you, how Steelers come into the game. I looked at some stats real quick. That Kansas City Chiefs in their stadium, Arrowhead Stadium, they're the NFL worst for its postseason game. They're 2-5, and they're 0-3 after a bye. And they said Big Ben is 4-2 in the playoff on the road, and they said that Bell, last time they played them, he had averaged 8 yards a carry and 4.9 after contact and against the Chiefs. So both of those are career high for him. And if you can get Ben and Bell on the same page along with Antonio Brown, I think Bell's going to be the guy. I think that the line is going to be where it all starts at. If you get the line going and you get Bell going, I ride him to the horses, wear down. And also, if it comes down to it, put D'Angelo in. It's okay. It's not a crime. Put D'Angelo in every once in a while to get up a different kind of running game in. But, I'm sure Bell will want to come out. And just like Antonio, him getting the ball a lot, with the way the weather's supposed to be, I can't really see that happening. But I tell you one thing, this is where tight ends come in handy. You got two great tight ends that can come be assets to them. Everybody go, split Antonio out there wide, let them try to double him. You got your tight ends, you got Bell, and you got Big Ben. Big Ben hopefully will just, like you said earlier, don't press the game. If it's not there, take it down, get the sack, or throw it away. Don't just throw it, try to make something happen to keep the drive going, because that can hurt you. And what the Kansas City Chiefs, the loud their stadium is, I don't think you want to do that.
Right, and this is a Kansas City team defensively that is one of the top, at least in the regular season,
exactly,
was one of the top turnover defenses in the league. I mean, this is a team that did a great job in terms of interceptions, in terms of fumble recoveries. I mean, they led the NFL in both those categories.
Yes.
And this really comes back into what you said. I mean, Ben has got to manage the game. Don't try to press it, because the one thing that will hurt Pittsburgh in this game is turnovers.
There you go.
Kansas City's been very good at turning turnovers into points. This is not a great Kansas City offense, but it's a good enough Kansas City offense.
That's right.
That if you turn the ball over, they're going to turn it into points, and that's really been their MO all year long. So certainly some things when you look at the injury front. Obviously, the Chiefs pretty much are at full strength. Everybody obviously having a week off. The Steelers. Ben had a full participation practice today. Tuitt had a full participation practice today. Golden was full participation. Dupree was limited participation, but that's not a big deal, right now. It'd be interesting to see how he does tomorrow in terms of his participation in practice. So this is obviously, it would be great to see Ladarius Green get out of concussion protocol, which I don't. Yes. The way it sounds, doesn't seem like it's going to happen. But to me, this really comes down with the weather situation there. They're talking about an ice storm. This really comes down to Bell and that offensive line running the football and being able to dominate the line of scrimmage. Would you agree?
You said it. It's the guys up front, that five up front with the tight ends. Usually bring in that patch with the two tight ends. You got like just the full heavy set with Antonio out there. If you can get that going, and like you say, people you block them like they're on ice, and they actually will be on ice. If they can get holes for Bell, it's gonna be another good game. And I think the Steelers love that kind of weather because it's nasty and ugly, and that's the kind of stuff that you want. And I noticed that the Steelers excel in that kind of stuff. When other teams were like the Dolphins last week, they didn't want anything doing with tackling. They didn't want nothing. After they hit somebody, like, oh man, I'm cold. And if you take the game and you start putting points on the board, the other team gonna sooner or later say, you know what, man, I'm not gonna get hurt. This is my last game of the year. I'm not getting hurt, and they'll start trying to do the one arm or the whole leg. I'm gonna grab the ankle if I can. But yeah, the line is gonna be the key. to this game, and I think the tight end will play a big part in it.
I agree. So with that, give me your prediction. What do you think is going to happen here?
Oh my goodness, the weather. It could be a loss of field goal attempt. And I'm going with the Steelers. They got a great kicker. Kansas City got a nice kicker too. But I think the one we have is better because they used him earlier this year. I think he had like 6. So I'm thinking the score will be 20-14.
Yeah, as we said, this game's going to come down to Bell. It's going to come down to the offensive line. But the one thing that I believe is in this weather, Ben is a lot better in this weather than Alex Smith.
Yes.
And with that, I really feel like if this weather is as bad as they say it's going to be, and I'm here in Texas, and we're already pushing an ice storm for tomorrow and Saturday, so the same weather that Kansas City is going to get on Sunday, we're getting over the next couple of days. Not as bad as when you go north of us, but, I mean, we're still going to probably get a little bit of it. I think this is a game of Pittsburgh being able to win this thing 27-17. I think the running game is going to be on point. I think Bell is going to do some things, but I think the difference is Ben's ability to make plays if this weather is bad. His ability to make plays is better than Alex Smith. Alex Smith does a great job of managing the game, but if we don't turn the ball over offensively and we allow Bell to have his game, we don't throw interceptions, we don't fumble the football, we force Alex Smith to have to drive the football, I don't think he can do it consistently. Again, as I said, Kansas City's MO all year has been turning turnovers to points.
Question for you. Would you punt the ball to Hill?
Not a chance.
Okay.
Not a chance. I'm kicking that thing to the sideline, and I'm living another day. Okay. We'll take it there. No, because here's the thing, in a game like this, and we talk about this, we've talked about the offense, we talked about defense, but and you touched on the kickers. This is the kind of game, if the weather's bad, special teams becomes a huge deal. The last thing you want to do is kick it to him and and him break one off, and now you've got them scoring points on their special teams.
Yes.
So not a chance. I'm kicking that thing to the sideline. I'm not a chance. I'm letting him return the football.
Okay.
I mean that's one of those where if we allow him to return a kickoff in the middle of the field, somebody needs to be getting an earful. Either your special teams coach or your punter, but somebody needs to be getting an earful. Because I ain't letting him do it. But yeah, I think 27-17. Okay. I think this is a game that sets up well. Pittsburgh wins this, comes out injury free. Now, and let's be honest, we're going to go to New England. If the Houston Texans beat New England, I'm just telling you right now, I will be the most shocked person in the world.
That happened, and still do their thing. The championship game be in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
That would be crazy. That would be
incredible. So right now with that, I mean, I think this game says that we win this game, keep Ben healthy, and by goodness, if we're up big, take his big ass out. I don't care.
Oh,
somebody better be tackling him on the sideline, because I'm telling you right now, he's in the game big because we got to have all horses healthy, and we dodged a bullet in this Miami game with that situation. The last thing, and it's not a subject I want to harp on a whole lot, but I mean that's the last thing in the world that if he would have gotten hurt severely on the second last play of the game, this whole show and this whole conversation would have been completely different.
Oh, yes. Yes,
So, but, well, hey, we're getting ready. Any final words for this week?
Hey, I'm looking forward to talking to you next week with another win. Continue doing what you're doing down there, getting your squad ready. I know you're a man of all traits and everything, but yeah, hey, my prayers with y'all down there that everything go well and y'all have a great season down there.
Appreciate it, and everybody. There's some great shows on growingtruth.net. A lot of football, a lot of baseball, basketball, college sports, you name it, you're going to find it. Check everything out. And with that, we will wrap this up, and we will see everybody next week getting ready hopefully for a conference championship game.
Yes.
So for Dwight Stone, I'm Brian Schmidt, and everybody have a great week. Go Steelers.